Welcome back to Comics, the podcast where me and my mom look through our comic book collection, 2 issues at a time. Fantastic Four number 9 is our first entry in today's session, and this is a kind of a weird time for the Fantastic Four. I believe this is from Fantastic Four Volume 3. So we had the original 1961 series that went up till 97 or 98 with the Onslaught Saga. We've talked about that a couple times or alluded to it. And then for about a year, I think it was 12 issues, or maybe it went 15 or something, but they did The Heroes Reborn, and that was Volume 2 of Fantastic Four. It's where I believe Jim Lee at least did the covers, but they sort of did a reboot. And then that proved to not be popular, and so they did another reboot after about a year.
That's what you do.
And this is the second reboot, so Volume 3, and that's why it's issue number 9. And I got this from a $1 comic sale at one of our local comic shops, Pops Comics. And no, the cover's not bent. It's got a fold-out component. I thought that too. I was like,
wondering,
is it did it get cut or something? But no, we have this fold-out diagram. Every kid needs a fold-out diagram of all the continuity.
Well, yeah.
That's what they want to see, I think.
Let me catch up nice and quick. Oh, that's a very dynamic bend.
Yeah, so this is art by Salvador Larroca, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It's written by Chris Claremont, so that's kind of a big name if you're an X-Men fan. So this kind of recaps what I was just talking about. They're trapped in a parallel universe or a pocket dimension. So, originally all the heroes, the Avengers, Fantastic Four, Cap, Iron Man, I guess they're Avengers. They all sacrificed themselves to defeat Onslaught. But really what happened is Franklin Richards transported them at that time to a new universe instead of them dying. And then they've come back from that universe. So
that's kind of handy.
All the characters should be familiar except I wasn't familiar with Alyssa Moy. No. Possessing an intellect on par with that of Reed Richards, Alyssa Moy also happens to be one of his oldest friends. A fellow scientist, Alyssa has recently focused her work on trans-dimensional physics, and it is her new discoveries in that field that have brought her in contact with Reed Richards again. Everybody knows Spider-Man. He can adhere to sheer walls. But that was one reason I picked this up. There were a bunch of boxes of comics, some loose with no plastic or anything, and some of them pretty beat up. This one is in great condition, loose for a 1998 comic, and we have a lot from this series. We have number 1 through 8. We actually didn't have number 9, so it was a nice find. Plus, it brings you back to the old Jack Kirby days where Spidey and Human Torch were kind of rivals at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they have been, but it was it seemed more antagonistic back in those days where they really didn't like each other. They're a little more friendly here. There's a little bit of sass between them, but they're allies. So recently, the most recent in this Volume 3 thing to happen is on this part of the pull-out page. It says, returning to the world after being trapped in a parallel dimension, the Fantastic Four quickly dispelled rumors of their deaths and began rebuilding the lives they had almost lost. Taking a new headquarters, the Fantastic Four began facing the threats of the world around them with the courage they had been known for before their disappearance. But just as they believed their lives might be returning to normal, the FF had to face a threat against their youngest member, Franklin Richards. Fighting bounty hunters and squads of otherworldly beings, collectively known as the Captain Britain Corps, the FF beat the odds and won the day, having rescued Franklin and returned to their own world once again. The Fantastic Four are reminded that they must be ever vigilant against the unknown, and a surprise could be around every corner. So we do have this issue. I recognize this cover of these silver beasts hunting Franklin. I've heard, just reading online, people don't like the Salvador Larroca era. I do like this art, though. It's definitely, you can see kind of the anime manga influence at this time. You were talking about, before we recorded, talking about the Thing's teeth. And his eyes have that anime look to them. But I liked it. I really, really liked this art style when it was coming out. So I was about 11. But it looks so fresh at that time, and the colors and everything, it just looks so vibrant. I still do like it, but
No,
one thing I
could
noticed
see
is
the appeal.
his like the extremes, like the feet and the hands on the ends of the appendage, they're kind of big. Like it gives it a cartoony kind of feel. Like even on the non-Reed Richards characters, it seems like they're a little out of proportion. It kind of gives it's an interesting cartoony sort of style. And all this sharp hair.
It's very
Dragon Ball Z or something.
Yeah.
So this issue begins. This is volume 3, number 9, September 1998. So that would have been my birthday month. And gosh, and this is the issue we're missing. You guys should have got this for my birthday.
I missed it.
That's okay. I got like 20 other ones. It begins at Manhattan Pier 4, owned and operated by the Fantastic Four. So they're no longer in the Baxter Building, or Four Freedoms Plaza, as it became at some point in like the 80s or 90s. And we have the Invisible Woman answering the door. It says it begins on one of those sleepy, sunny summer Sunday mornings that make life a delight. They really nailed the Stanley alliteration there.
Yes.
And make living in New York an absolute joy. There's someone at the front door, I'll get it. Though who it could be at this ungodly hour? Yawn. Mrs. Richards, my partner, and I are here from NPR TV.
NPR?
Yeah, so
right.
They haven't lost their funding in this timeline, I guess.
Right.
But they've come to do, that's what the title is A Day in the Life. So I think this is a good jumping on point maybe for people in the volume 3 of like, okay, if you missed the first few issues,
This
here's
kind
like,
of can set you up.
yeah, here's the status quo that they're dealing with. Gosh, that picture thing, his brow is so arched.
Right here, he's
I know.
mad.
They're almost like wings on his forehead.
But
or
then
something.
they still remember to give him his little button nose.
Yeah, and they give him those little light reflected.
Yeah, light,
That's a
yeah.
very anime thing, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. So also the over kind of intense reactions.
Squinting, yeah, his eyes are almost closed. He's grimacing so hard. So they introduce themselves. He says, this is Manoli Wetherell. You don't need to know that. It doesn't ever come up again, the camera woman. I'm Neil Conan. We have an appointment. It's all arranged. We're filming a documentary on an average day in the life of the world's premier superfamily. I hope we haven't come in a bad time as she's turning invisible. What?
That's a great power.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes.
We get the Jehovah's Witnesses or something. We always get... I hate to be that guy, but I gotta get one of those little no soliciting stickers to put in the window or something, because we get people always trying to get us to switch our internet or sign up for like dubiously sourced solar panels and all sorts of stuff. Like, not that I'm against solar, but like, I don't know if somebody walking up to my doorstep really has my best interests in mind. Like, when's the last time somebody coming to your door unsolicited ever helped you in some way?
Remember the people with the freezers in their trucks, and they would come with steaks and stuff?
What was up with that?
That's kind of weird. If you think about it, that would be
like
a
a
great way
ghetto
for a
swan
serial
truck.
killer to get rid of
the
bodies.
Evidence? Oh, well. Hope we didn't eat some human meat by accident. So she slams the door and you hear this huge Reed. So she's mad at Reed, as she often is. Johnny answers the door and says, welcome to the humble abode. I hope there's no problem, the camera woman says. With my big sister? Always. But she'll get over it. Love your show, by the way. Clang, clang, clang. So an alarm starts going off. And she says, oh, it's the security alarm. Pardon me, I got to flame on and ask you both for some identification. And then he asked, do you guys have any weapons on your person? And we get this little, these montage panels. I guess she's got Han Solo's blaster.
Yeah,
it's like, in addition to a pistol, a dagger, this different knife,
brass knuckles,
nunchucks,
throwing stars.
Yeah, and Ben is like, that's some arsenal you're packing, lady. What's the story? Well, we used to hang out with the X-Men. Enough said. Very Stanley thing. So that was Uncanny X-Men 226 and 227, for those that are keeping track.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know how those weapons are going to help you against the X-Men, honestly, but
that's like
better than nothing.
The trailer for the new season of Wednesday. She's going through the airport, and they're like,
oh, I haven't seen the trailer yet.
And so they're like, and she starts Same thing.
I really like that show, though. The first season was good.
Yeah.
And you can get a Spider-Man MasterCard.
Oh, boy.
Credit card with power. Looks like Tilbert's chasing her tail behind you. If any of our viewers hear any weird noises, it's the cat chasing her tail and biting it hard. So he says, "What's the deal? What brings you here? No offense, Mr. Grimm, but the world believed the Fantastic Four to be dead. Now you're back from a parallel dimension, alive and well. That's news. My producer worked this out with Dr. Richards, didn't he tell you? With a skull as thick as mine, pal, you'd be amazed at what I miss. But I figure Susie's reaction says it all. To start off, what you see is pretty much what we got. Ain't much to look at. A warehouse on a Hudson River. It's like, yeah, that view, that's...
Right?
Gosh, that must be hard for you to live in such humble arrangements.
Well, wood floors, though, when you got Johnny.
Oh, yeah. Or Ben. You just
Oh, yeah,
crush through 'em.
right.
They're probably treated with unstable molecules or something to... He says,
Treated
it
as
ain't for...
unstable molecules.
Yeah, that's what their costumes are made of, remember? So they don't,
What?
the flame doesn't damage them or the stretching doesn't hurt them. He says, ain't for Freedom's Plaza, and it sure ain't the Baxter Building, but for us, for now, it's home, and you're welcome here. I do like the way they make his words all scraggly looking like that.
Yeah.
Alyssa, Franklin, let's say we let these nice folks talk to Reed while we go shopping for brunch. Uncle Ben, is Dad in trouble? Because when my mommy came by just now, she had her really mad face on. I'm not sure how I feel about Franklin. When I was reading, last year I was reading all the Fantastic Four in order, and I got up to...
The birth of...
Yeah, past the birth, and I don't know, I feel like it was better when it was just the
four of them.
Four of them. A little kid, it's like the same thing with the Star Wars prequels. Like, everybody likes Darth Vader, right? What if he was a 8-year-old?
Right.
Wouldn't that be cool?
No, absolutely not.
But,
Well, it's just that his powers are so huge. You know?
well, yeah, I guess he's a mutant. I think they retconned that after a while, but he's a mutant with reality warping powers, and whenever they start talking about reality warping, it's his code for it. He can pretty much do anything he wants, only when it's convenient for the story,
And if you didn't like it, well, that was an alternate reality.
Yeah.
We'll get back to what you really want.
So,
Oh.
I know, I will say Salvador really does some expressive thing faces. I really
Yes.
like that. I'm going to throw this bag away so the cat can have a little
Cats just like to have fun.
So we get kind of homage to Stan Lee here.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, Uncle Ben, there's Uncle Stan. Hi, Uncle Stan. Hey there, true believer. How's my best boy? Come right over, you three, and try some of my scintillating, superb, sizzling, spicy Sicilian sausages. And don't forget to wash it down with a bottle of Kirby Cola. And so they're walking through the Tribeca neighborhood. It says, take a wander from the warehouse. You'll soon find yourself in Tribeca, the triangle below Canal Street, one of Manhattan's most dynamic neighborhoods. Like many of the island's communities, it's a vibrant mix of the old and the new. Buildings from the 19th century housing high-tech firms into the 21st. Entrepreneurs who play each workday with millions of dollars, plus the creative souls they often invest in. Folks who have it all and those struggling for their first break. Strangely enough, since their arrival scant weeks before, the Fantastic Four have found an unexpected, wholly delightful acceptance.
Oh,
and that's what Ben says. He says, I mean, where else can a guy with the size of a small house made out of orange bricks walk down the street and everybody pretends not to notice?
Aww.
And kind of a subplot is Franklin dealing with the trauma of his parents apparently dying and coming back and all that, because he's hyper vigilant. He says, I'm just watching out for monsters. So that's something that comes up a couple of times, and they try to reassure him. But yeah, so obviously that would be a difficult thing to go through.
Yeah, that's awful.
If you create everybody's gone through that, where you create a pocket dimension and send your family there for a year.
This is a great drawing. It looks like he's like got his hand on the thing's
I know.
head.
Well, It must be nice as a kid to ride around on the thing because he's probably got different crannies and like handholds that you can like climbing a mountain or something. So they do visit their old skyscraper towers. It says first is the legendary Baxter Building, later as Four Freedoms Plaza. It served as home and headquarters of the Fantastic Four. And we get a brief recap that actually connects to an episode or two ago, we did Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
And we established that they were a new super team, but it's really ex-supervillains in disguise trying to trick everybody that they're heroes. Well, that's kind of around this era because Ben kind of brings us up to speed. Franklin says, Uncle Ben, how come we can't live here anymore? Isn't this our home? Building ain't safe, short stuff. You see, Franklin, while we were away, somebody had the bright idea, alone in it, to some new team of heroes, what called themselves the Thunderbolts. Trouble is, they turned out to be bad guys running a scam. When the cops came to arrest them, they tried to blow up the place. City's trying to figure out what to do next. They got inspection teams all through the building, making sure its structure is still sound, so there's no danger it might collapse. Based on that report, they'll decide whether to rebuild what's left or tear down the whole shebang and start over from scratch. Will the Fantastic Four be allowed to return, Benjamin? After all that's happened, Alyssa, that's anybody's guess. Come on, you two. Time we were heading for the barn.
They'll be allowed.
Yeah. We got the Sunday eats, and by now, the others must be starving. And this is all referring to Thunderbolts number 10. So,
Okay.
Later in the year from the first one that we read, but pretty close proximity to this era. It's interesting to look at some of these comics because I don't know if it's just my point of reference, but like, they're cool and I like the way they look, but not quite as classic as like this era of comics.
Yeah.
To give a little sneak preview of Wonder Woman, the 80s and 70s, I feel like that kind of art and graphic design, the color saturation and everything, or this Iron Man, that's what I think of for classic comics.
Yeah.
And that's like the baseline version of what those characters look like.
Mm-hmm. It's
and
like,
even though this is more like 30 years
yeah,
or so, getting on, it hasn't aged the same way.
No.
I mean, obviously, that's the other two examples are quite a bit older, but I'm wondering at what decade will this start looking classic, or will it never? Because it still looks quite modern.
That's a really good point.
I don't know if it's the digital coloring, maybe, is part of what differentiates it, but...
And maybe, the paper stock is shiny. It's, it's, I think the saturation of the ink, and I think it's going to take a while because manga is hugely popular, and this, like
I think it outsells American comics now quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing that was weird. I almost associated with the Midwest because moving down to the Ohio Valley from Upper Michigan, it seemed like I kept meeting more and more people that are obsessed with anime and manga, and I was like, is that just like a weird Ohio person thing, or like, I don't know. Me and my friends. I guess I watched Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I watched the Pokemon show here and there, but I wasn't like so obsessed with Japanese culture as like it's become very dominant in the nerd culture in the past decade or two.
Right. I mean, we kept up with the Jeepers, the movie, like Princess Mononoke, and
like,
and we saw Spirited Away. I
Totoro, and
saw that in a college class, which was cool. So Totoro, but it wasn't
Miyazaki.
The Miyazaki, yes.
So anyway, one interesting cameo we get here that you probably already noticed with the weird backwards like Russian R, Kraven the Hunter. The involvement of that team of so-called superheroes is not necessary, my friend. Your employers have already engaged the services of Kraven the Hunter. The capture of feral creatures is both my vocation and my pleasure. Remove your workers from the underground levels, foreman. I will inform your superiors when the threat has been eliminated. So we have this work crew that's looking for some kind of creature that they keep hearing underneath the Baxter building in the sewer, I guess. And they've hired Kraven the Hunter. Who else? He's a hunter. It's right in his name. To find this creature.
Have you seen the movie on Netflix?
I haven't watched it yet. Is it good?
I liked it. I did, yes.
I would like to watch it. I It's definitely on my list. I did catch up on Venom, so I watched the third Venom. Did you watch that yet?
No.
It was pretty good. I like when the horse becomes Venom. That was cool. It's goofy though. It was pretty good. So meanwhile, back downtown, another minute or so of soaking wet towels dry as toast. He's showing off how he can dry towels. That's a very it's like something you'd see in the early Fantastic Four.
Yes.
I'm gonna just put on my asbestos suit here, and so the presenter says, "It's amazing watching you do that, Johnny." He says, "A certain wall crawler gets called amazing, Neil. Occasionally spectacular, even sensational. The FF, we're just plain old fantastic. I stand corrected." So a little foreshadowing of who we're gonna see in a moment.
That's funny.
And he says, "Do you know I'm certified by the New York City Fire Department? I audit classes at their training academy. The idea is, the more I learn about fighting fires, the better able I am to keep from starting them."
Oh my God.
And he gives the dried towel back to his sister, who's apparently still trying to get ready, even though they're already filming. But she's like in her bathrobe and trying to get ready. And the things like expecting someone, Susie Q? Not really, Ben, only salvation. So this is actually pretty true to Invisible Woman's character. Sometimes this aspect of her kind of falls to the side, but she's very fashion oriented. In one of her first appearances, in fact, she's like at some boutique picking out an outfit and becomes invisible and runs off to save the day. And it's like, didn't you just shoplift? You just wearing that out of the store? But she had called her friends. "You called, Sue? I came. All the way from Milan, I might add. Much to Giorgio and Donatella's delight. They don't like the competition. But for you, cara mia, any time. In a crisis, Que Sera stands by her friends." I guess her name is Que Sera.
Okay.
"I brought some associates with me from my Soho atelier. Sort of an ad hoc help squad." I don't know, help.
Okay.
"Put your faith in me and your body in the most capable hands. You won't be disappointed." So they're bringing in a bunch of different dresses and things for her to try on. And I guess Johnny's being Johnny here. So he goes outside to what looks like very Doctor Who inspired telephone booth. He says, "Okay, Sue's in fashion heaven. Reed's being interviewed. No sign of Ben or Alyssa or Franklin. Looks like the coast is clear. Of all the doorways in the world to choose from, why settle on an antique London police call box? I mean, it's not Reed's fault, since he got the thing secondhand from that weird doctor friend of his."
Oh.
Yeah, so I guess they're trying to allude that maybe Doctor Who exists in this universe in some way.
That could be cool.
Gotta admit, though, it's pretty wild. From the outside, it looks like you could barely fit a single person. Step over the threshold, the space you find is almost infinite. This is the real warehouse. The building itself is just for show. "It's me. Is anybody home? Hey!" Somebody attacks him from behind. So this is Johnny's subplot. He had rescued this girl. They were on that adventure with the silver beasts and the Captain Britain Corps that they talked about in the intro. And we'll get our recap on the next page, but this is from that. This is a continuation of that adventure. "She knows her stuff. First shot knocked the wind out of me. The kicks to finish me off. Got to roll with the impact. Use the hit to clear some space between us so I can flame on." And there's those distended hands again, so big.
Oh, yeah.
And his feet, too. "That's a Scots accent. Will you look at that? She respects the power of my flame, but she isn't afraid of it." I guess it's the your. "Keep your distance" is Scottish. That's my best Scottish your. "And I should believe you why?" She's skeptical of him. "I'll extinguish my flame. How's that for starters? My name's Johnny Storm. Don't you remember? I'm the guy who rescued you." It was our last night in the court continuum. Reed was in a meeting. Sue had Franklin, Ben had Alyssa. Me, I was solo, and I was bored. I heard a commotion, saw you duking it out with a pair of armored goons. They were dressed like Captain Britain. Figured that earned him the benefit of the doubt until I heard one say, "Last warning, slave, yield or die." That's when I decided to get involved. But before my flames could drive them back, you caught a punch that knocked you silly. I figured that was no fit place for you, so I smuggled you back to my home dimension with me. If I was out of line, if I've made things worse for you, tell me how I can make things right. And they're done. Meantime, I brought you some food. I am a Highlander. I will never be a slave. That settles that. Problem is, you can't stay here, at least not till I square the stitch with Reed. However, I believe I have an alternative.
Okay.
Johnny's looking very anime there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I used to really like this game, X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Oh, I remember.
That's a cool Wolverine. Look at those mask horns. So, after a speedy and stealthy departure, she's saying, your body is made of fire, yet even when you hold me in your arms, I feel no flames. Practice makes perfect, and with my power, anything less than perfect is unacceptable. Weird to see that emphasis underlined. I don't see that in dialogue boxes that often. Forgive me, Johnny, but you seek to hide me in this ruin? Well, it seemed like a great idea at the time. I guess I didn't count on the damage being so extensive.
Ooh.
And Spider-Man appears with his shiny butt. That's one thing about this color styles. You get all these shiny points, and it's like, why is everything? Where is the light coming from?
Everywhere, all at once.
He says, most guys on a first date, they try dinner or a dance or a movie or maybe even a stroll on a moonlit beach. Only my pal, the Human Torch, would choose a derelict, condemned skyscraper. My day is so complete. Allow me to introduce myself. The ever-amazing, often spectacular, disarmingly sensational Spider-Man at your service. Alison Stewart, my pleasure. What are you doing here, webhead? Saw your flame trail across the sky. Figured it was time for a reunion.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Johnny leaves that noticeable trail behind him.
Yeah. Well, must make it hard to sneak around.
Exactly, yeah. And at night.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta really light up the sky.
He says, I must say, mi amigo, resurrection does become you, provided you don't make a habit of getting killed. Hey, at least nobody's put a multi-million-dollar reward on the FF's head lately. Heard about that, did you? I read the newspapers. Wow, Johnny Storm Reed. Same sentence. What a concept. Bite me, bug boy. So this was a period of time where Spider-Man had a bounty on his head, so he created like 3 or 4 new identities. And it was him behind all the masks, but he came up with these new ideas that they refer to this here. Arachnid, if you please. If you're going to be insulting, at least get the terms right. I ran into one of those creeps trying to steal your thunder. He doesn't know that was really me in my guise as the Hornet. The Hornet is one of his. So he's like, I can't be Spider-Man, but I still have to save the day. So he comes up with these alternate. I think we have one of those comics somewhere, but it was just a ploy to like reboot him for it, and change the status quo for a little while, and then immediately change it back. But I think one of those alternate identities later on, Mary Jane picked it up at some point and became a vigilante or something like that. I heard.
Whoa.
So, yeah, they'll pick up on it later.
I could see her as the Hornet.
Yeah, it was a Hornet or something else. And then later on, they call her Jackpot, and that's like her hero in it because in her first appearance, she's like, face it, Pete, you hit the jackpot or whatever. Because that's the running joke. I've been reading The Amazing Spider-Man from its beginning, and I'm about 40 or 50 issues in, and they keep alluding to Mary Jane for many issues where Aunt May is like, well, she's like, I want you to meet my friend's niece or granddaughter or whatever. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. She's probably not my type, and she's boring and all this stuff. And then finally he meets her in an issue, and he's like, oh, she's like a model and all.
Oops.
So that's kind of like anyway, I'm getting off track here. It's funny how when they zoom out, the lines sometimes go away. It's all shiny and smooth on the costume. So they're kind of bantering back and forth, and he's saying, well, she said she was a slave. Do you believe her? She was wearing manacles. She could be some kind of criminal and be lying to you. And while they're arguing, she hears a sound.
Oh, no.
And she jumps down the hatch after that howling sound.
Who would do that?
Alessandra, the slave. She jumped. Brilliant observation, Sherlock. That opening's right over the main freight elevator. That shaft runs straight down to the building's foundation. Over 1,000 feet. I don't see any sign of her. But that makes no sense. There wasn't time for her to reach the bottom. When we catch up to her, we'll ask. Judging from the mess, she sure didn't get off anywhere along the way. Yeah, Baron Zemo did a pretty thorough demolition job. That tingling, my
Jeez.
spider sense. Johnny, look out! Too late, some kind of tripwire, probably hooked up to a deadfall. How bad is it, Spidey?
Oh no.
Gosh, these are so 90s, some of these
Yes.
logos. Hey, Wizards of the Coast, Magic the Gathering.
Wow.
On that ominous note, let us return once more to Pier 4. Catch, Franklin! You were a respected test pilot, Ben, considered one of the best of your generation of astronauts. So they tell me. Do you miss anything of the old life? There's a lot worse fates, Neil, than having skin made of orange bricks. At least I still got my health. Of course I miss stuff wouldn't be human otherwise. But then I think all the places I've been, the things I've done. The guys I trained with may never reach the moon. Me, I've been to the stars.
Yeah.
And finally, Sue makes her appearance in this very weird outfit. She's got like gaucho pants or something, like weird. They like,
Yeah.
they're pleated, I guess.
It would be hard to like, unless it's drawn by females, for men to get
Yeah.
the, you know,
Well,
the
I know
popular
contemporary
style
artists
of the
will
day.
use magazines and online periodicals and steal fashion things from that
yeah.
or borrow them. But yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. It looks like a weird cardboard wood grain belt. She's got on. So she's still mad at Reed for not reminding everybody about the film crew, and Franklin is still nervous about monsters showing up. And,
Oh.
that's all we need to really cover there. It gets a little more interesting back in the catacombs.
Craven.
Someone, anyone, help! Once more, Spider, your path crosses that of Craven the Hunter. I bear you no ill will, but I will likewise not be diverted from my purpose. If you are still alive when my task here is complete, I will aid you. You're all heart, Alyosha. To a Kravenoff, only the hunt matters and the prey. As for you, woman, I told you before, Hunter, I stand as protector of what you call prey. What's happening to Alisande? To reach it, you must first pass Caledonia. So she now has a blade and is in her
So she's
Scottish
a Scottish
theme.
hero.
I wonder if Chris Claremont has some Scottish ancestry or something, because I think he invented Excalibur too. Aren't they
Okay.
Scottish? I think they're headquartered in Scotland too, or at least I could be.
That would-
Well, and
that's
then I'm
an
thinking,
interesting
is
thought.
Moira McTaggart from Scotland as well? Muir Island in X-Men.
Interesting.
So he says, Galadkin. That's a good name for your lion. Galadkin, the woman is yours. Rawr. Where are your manners, Craven? That's no way to treat a lady. Gotta go, Torch. No prob, buddy. I got these beams welded tight. I do like the flames on the word bubbles for Human Torch. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's cool how this panel's broken up where the line's like jumping into the next panel, kind of. You weren't in danger, no more than usual. Craven underestimated us. Don't you make the same mistake. He's got phenomenal speed and power, and he's as ruthless as they come. And one thing more, Spider. When necessary, I am prepared to kill. Fast as you can fire those darts, pal, I'll melt them. Then I shall have to put you in a position where you can't use your flames. Annette! We're both caught. I flame on, I'll burn Cal.
Ooh.
Fools! That's a great picture. He's got like cat eyes and fangs.
He's crazy.
Fools, did you think that because I have no special powers, because I cannot burst into flame or fly or stick to walls, that I am no match for the likes of you? I am Craven, I am the hunter. That's very consistent dialogue with his first appearances in the first few dozen Spider-Man, where he has to emphasize, like, this guy doesn't have powers, but he's pretty formidable. It's like, why don't you just give him some powers? You're always emphasizing how he's scary even without him. I don't know.
It's interesting because in the movie, he's not as insane as this guy looks right now.
Yeah, my understanding is the movie, he's more of an anti-hero. It's his dad and his criminal family that he's kind of set up against.
But of course, that's his origin story. So as years go on, maybe he does become...
Gosh, I like some of these covers in this ad
that's
for
a
the
nice
auction. I
one.
love that Silver Surfer Thor confrontation.
Yeah.
Gosh, the lettering, the red and green's very
Changed
funky.
his.
So they break free of the net with Caledonia's sword, and Craven runs away. Actually, he says, "Nothing to be alarmed about. Merely the creature I was hired to remove." Because they hear a roar. It sounds hungry and frightened. That makes it deadly. Under the circumstances, I will return to finish my work when it is finished with you. Ha 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 ha. So he's like, I'll let the monster kill you guys and then collect my bounty or whatever.
He'll get fat and tired, and when that happens, I'll come get him.
Exactly. And Johnny says that roar would have done Godzilla proud. And they're all worried about what could have made that noise. Caledonia returns with it in hand and leash. We're going to get a reveal in a moment of what it actually is. She says, the question now, I suppose, is what do we do with it? And so back at the warehouse, everybody's reconvened. Actually, sis, Spidey, Caledonia, and I may have a solution. I hope so, Johnny, because I'm at my wit's end. She's trying to comfort Franklin that monsters aren't real. And he says, well, it's waiting right out back. Something I figure every growing kid needs. It's Lockjaw. A very puppyish looking.
Lockjaw.
Yeah, one of the cutest Lockjaws they've ever drawn. Look at that. It's love at first sight. Yeah, it's like maybe the Inhumans, he was being dog sit. They were dog sitting for the Inhumans, and then they went to a parallel dimension. I don't know. There must have been some reason that they'll explain he was in the sewer.
Well, but his power.
He teleports. So maybe he just teleported there looking for the FF and got lost or something. Because he's a teleporter, but I think he's still got a dog brain. I think Crystal of the Inhumans usually is controlling him. And
or
I don't think he's really
thinking.
Yeah,
he's
not like
one
a human intelligence. So.
Can you imagine? Lockjaw, what do we do?
And we get this nice tender moment of Franklin and Lockjaw as our last panel. This kind of looked interesting. Mutant X #1. I'd never heard of this at the time, but trapped in a parallel reality, Havoc must convince the X-Men that he's as evil as they are. So it must be an evil version of... Look at that evil Iceman and the evil Archangel.
Gargoyle.
It almost looks like Abomination or something. Stor's got a red eye. That might be fun to track down.
Interesting.
Gosh, I remember that Small Soldiers movie coming out too. It's like Toy Story, but an action movie or something.
Oh, right.
So let's see we're going to go back in time a little further for your issue today.
Way farther.
Back to the classic era with Wonder Woman.
299, actually.
Yeah, I think we have 300, so we're going backwards order.
Yeah.
But this will be fun. It's a great cover.
Yeah, the cover is really dynamic. As a kid, I loved Greek and Roman mythology, and I mean, yeah, this got me.
Gosh, look at the design in these old candy boxes.
You can still get Zagnut. I bought one.
They're still trying to sell them from this era.
I know.
What's in a Zagnut?
What is
it? It says peanut butter crunch.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like this underpowered. What is it that Bart always like? Butterfinger. It's like not.
Butterfinger are good, but man, they're hard on the teeth.
Oh, yeah, days later.
Dentist designed candy.
Yep, paid for my camp.
1983. Okay, so 4 years before I existed.
Only in the 80s.
And volume 42, number 299. That's a lot of volumes.
So we are picking up where the story left off, and the signs are subtle at first, barely disturbing the blue calm of the Aegean. But soon, there's no doubt that there is life beneath these waters. Life that is straining, yearning to burst free. As she comes up, the air never tasted sweeter. But what hit me? I remember seeing Aegeus and Steve. Then I was down.
Aegeus and Steve.
It's old Aegeus
two
and
names
Steve.
that go together well.
The fall knocked the wind out of my sails. I need a moment or two to catch my breath. And she was out. But then we see a foot that it looks like it's like on her arm, and then a gun barrel into her back, and then thus may signs of life be rapidly replaced by the stillness of death.
Yikes!
But it's not going to happen. So then we have
some
her
turtleneck
logo.
terrorists.
I know it. Still alive? What does it take to kill her? The old methods are the best, Bridget. Say the word and I'll blow her head off.
Yikes.
That's just... Then, no, not yet. She dies when Bellerophon commands. So we've got someone who's blind. Bellerophon, then you are the one behind this, as my mother guessed. But don't think that I'm helpless just because I took a little spill. She's getting up. Stop her. I have her, Jacques. So it must be a multinational
They've got French
terrorist
people, Greek people.
Bridget, she's maybe Irish.
She's on study abroad program.
But even as the terrorist fires, Wonder Woman's legendary Amazon stamina comes to the fore and rising to full heroic stature as she girds for the attack, which is soon coming from all sides.
Oh, we should mention this is drawn by Gene Colan and written by Dan Mishkin.
Dan Mishkin.
I refuse to talk about the inking and lettering. You know Mishkin?
He has come up a couple times.
Okay. I recognize Colan. Gene Colan is all over the place in our
So what do you think?
Oh, that's a cool splash page. Those different arm movements. That's almost like a Mr. Fantastic or Plastic Man, because you've got a wrist and then another angle. It almost makes it look like the arm is.
It does, yeah. So yep.
It's a weird facial expression too.
Her wrist bands protect her.
The bangles.
And so, faster than wing-footed Hermes, the pride of Paradise Island deflects every single bullet from its deadly path.
Should have deflected them at Bellerophon.
I know, really. And strangely, only the blind Bellerophon seems able to follow Wonder Woman's rapid-fire movements. So what's his deal? So we have an ad. We've seen this ad before.
I think we have, because there's millions of combinations that the snake can become. The snake puzzle.
Interesting. Then, let's put an end to this, shall we? She should just grab all the guns and just hit him in the head with the butts. It's time you all learn to stop playing with these murderous toys. Now, somebody tell me, where did Aegeus take Steve? You're too late, Wonder Woman. My young agent is on his way to destroy your sister Amazons on Paradise Island, and Colonel Trevor is showing him the way. Intriguing, Bellerophon, but not very likely, since Steve doesn't know where Paradise Island is. What? I tried to tell you before, Aegeus. I don't know how to get there. I crashed on the island by accident, and I was out cold when Wonder Woman took me back to the States. But it is in this region. I can feel the nearness of its magical vibrations.
Well, I guess they have to keep its location secret from the world of men, right?
But what, when you think about it, I mean, you just got some jerk who's got Zeus's arrows, or lightning bolts. Come on,
It's weird that he keeps them in a quiver. So he's got a finite number of them. He can't just generate them.
So yes, this is the general area. But we're in the Bermuda Triangle now, and normal navigational instruments go haywire here. That's why the Amazons have been able to stay hidden from the world of men.
Oh.
I don't navigate by mere earthly means, Trevor. In fact, I'm in my element amongst these mystical storm clouds. And with the thunderous bolts of Zeus at my command, the Amazon's home will not long remain hidden from me. So, of course, his lightning bolt clears the clouds, and there it is.
So did he steal those from Zeus? Is that what he's suggesting?
I am thinking, that...
So maybe Zeus has an unlimited supply of them, but he can give them to other people as well.
Well, I think it was, what's his name there, Bellerophon? Bellerophon, that...
Or was it Steve? Bellerophon, Aegeus, and Steve.
Hear me, Hippolyta, and prepare to meet your doom, for the powers of Aegeus has come to destroy you. Phoebe, go quickly, sound the call to arms. You will die, each and every one of you, as helplessly as Steve Trevor. He's always getting caught and carried by women.
Oh, so Steve is his captive.
Captive,
okay.
yes.
I thought they were working together until just now.
And Wonder Woman was trying to save him in the previous issue,
Gotcha.
but she was knocked out, and we'll find out what did it.
That's funny. She just catches him.
Catches him, but neither fate will come to pass as long as I have the strength and the will to save my daughter's beloved. So he can't step foot on Paradise Island. So
really?
She carries him and hands him off to the guards to take him to the Science Island. But unknown to Steve, the Princess of Power is still very much alive, though in the most of the battle.
The midst of a battle. Yeah, the typeface looks weird. It does look like
of a battle.
Most.
That might change that status. You seem, Amazon, to be having quite a difficult time disposing of an old man who is both blind and lame. Perhaps you underestimate your opponent and falsely believe the physical strength and the 5 senses are all that one needs to win a battle. Ugh! How can he be so fast, able to trip me up like that?
Well, he plays with me in pinball.
Oh, that was a good one. He's like the blind martial artist of the Orient, whose remaining senses are heightened.
Or Daredevil.
Or Daredevil.
Never heard of him in that universe.
And augmented by a special mystical battle sense. But perhaps I can distract and overload the senses that he does depend on.
So she thinks. The next blind person you meet, you have that battle sense, right? The mystical one that you get
right.
to make up for your sight.
As they knock you down. Oh, you do. Robot plane. Swoop low and buzz Bellerophon. And so it does. It comes down, but he's like, you thought that was going to get me? But then she throws her tiara at him, which does. So he does.
It was a distraction.
Uh-huh. And he throws off the attack. However, she's waiting with a kick to the face.
Dang, double foot.
Right.
How are you going to land that one?
Too fast, Bellerophon. There was no way you could counter every blow forever. And before her unrelenting onslaught, even he must fall. And so she looks so fancy. Now, for the rest of you, we'll finish what we started, Amazon. No, Carlo. So we've got a Hispanic. We've got French, Hispanic, Irish. No, Carlo, you will not. Drop your gun.
It's
you
a
others
coalition
also.
Of terrorists.
I
inclusive.
I could have handled him myself, but thank you. But why the sudden change of heart? Earlier in the catacombs beneath the ruins, I saw a vision of Athena. It's her counsel that I follow now. I see. Then that was Athena's scepter that struck me down before. Yes, and frankly, I don't understand why it didn't kill you. The scepter's ray packs quite a punch when it strikes, but its primary function is to discern and obliterate that which is evil. Then that's why Colonel Trevor was unharmed when it vaporized one of my comrades.
That's a cool panel.
That's a really cool panel. Great Hera, I'd almost forgotten about Steve. There's no telling what kind of danger he's in, or whether Aegeus has located Paradise Island. Yeah, this is cool. And then you've got this hard rock that's just waiting for all of this energy to, what does it do? Blows up.
Wow.
So in the skies above the island, birthplace of all Wonder Woman's fears appear to be coming true. For there, the Greek terrorist leader, now known as Aegeus, has unleashed wave after wave of unbridled devastation. His mystic lightning bolts tear rifts in the sky through which fiery balls of lava are transported from some faraway volcano to fall as deadly rain upon those powerless to stop him.
Dang.
Good Lord, Paula, you're the Amazon's chief scientist. Don't you have anything that you could shoot him down with? No, Colonel. Though the notion must seem quite foreign to you with your Air Force training, the Amazon idea of combat does not include the use of massively destructive long-range weapons. You understand it is a matter of honor. Steve's like, I've got no honor. So he goes off. It's like
I've got a kite, though.
Yeah, it's like a hang glider that they use for sport.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but he's like, hey, I've been flying since I was, knee-high to a grasshopper. I can outfly this, buddy. And so he's getting up there and he's thinking about he's not thinking about flying or what he's supposed to do. And then the lightning comes down. He's like, oh, that was too close for comfort. I better start showing some smarts or I won't last another 10 seconds up here. It's like, no, get your head in the game, Steve.
Yeah, what's he going to do when he gets to him?
This is kind of a cool shot.
Oh, that's very cool.
You divert me from my purpose, Trevor. but I'm going to stop your interference for good. You have to catch me first, fancy pants. Fool, do you think you can escape by hiding in a cloud?
Fool, do you think my pants are fancy?
He should say, oh, I like your pixie haircut. When will you learn that there is no shelter from the wrath of, bearing down from behind me? Clever, Colonel, but not all the aerial tricks in the world will keep me from you. Nothing will save you now. So much for tactics over superior firepower. Looks like I've bought it this time. Stay loose, Steve. I've got you covered. Angel, sorry to cut it so close, but I had to wrap some things up with the Greek authorities. Thanks for keeping Aegeus occupied in the meantime. But now I think you'd better stay here on Science Island, where I can take... Isn't that interesting how she just instinctively took him back to Science Island because he can't...
She knows the rules.
Yeah, she's not... This is
Stay
a
on
really...
Science Island, all right?
That is a majorly effed up panel.
Yeah,
Look
it
at
looks like
that.
her costume's disappearing a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's bizarre. Well, I take care of this power-hungry madman once and for all. All right, Aegeus, let's settle this now. You wanted a head-on confrontation just the two of us, and you boasted you'd beat me in a walk? Well, it's time to start backing it up. The Skyrider's response comes with breathtaking speed. That's great. But not fast enough to catch the amazing Amazon. I'm hardly working up a sweat, Aegeus. Is that the best you can do? Smack talking. Not by a damn sight, woman. There, I've wounded his ego just as I'd hoped. He's giving up his aerial advantage to run me down, which means I can take this tree his thunderbolt struck earlier and do this.
Ooh.
So she brings it back to hit him. Don't think you can get away from me that easily, Aegeus. You're nothing but a two-bit terrorist thug who got his hands on a little power, and you were never any match for me. So she lassos his horse. And he says, you tried this once before, Amazon, and your lasso couldn't control my steed. I was just surprised then to find that your bridle had the same properties as my lasso. But the real battle's between you and me, not our magical appliances. And that's
appliances? That's a weird word for it.
And that's simply no contest. And so you see, she goes, buck, Pegasus, with all your might. No, I'm your master. Stop it. I say stop. And as Aegeus tumbles towards the dark clouds below, you won't take me, not while I hold one last bolt. He's falling with a lightning bolt. And we will meet
again. Yikes.
Yeah, he's done for. And we count on you to be there next month. Our Wonder Woman number 300 for Wonder Woman 300, a spectacular triple-sized issue by Thomas, Pollard, Giffen, Giordano, Dursima, Buckler, and Andrew.
Oh, good forget Buckler.
Holy
Great work
cow.
with Buckler.
So she saves the day.
That was a short one, 16 pages. We don't have a B story.
We do.
Oh, okay.
And who do you think it is?
Huntress?
Mm-hmm.
I remember. Oh, we got quite a few ads first.
And letter
Grit
pages.
Magazine, Wonder Words.
Spaceship Columbia. So look at this dude.
So this is Huntress, the daughter of Catwoman and Batman in an alternate universe in Stranglehold.
And in this time period, Batman is dead.
Right.
So she's picking up the slack here.
Remember when Batman used to wear that purple mask? Just like my dad did. And these thigh-high stockings. He loved these.
So she has been captured by a gang who has been putting, draining shopkeepers for protection.
So like a snake-themed gang.
Mm-hmm, snake. Yeah, Ugh. This guy's gross. And so as if in imitating the snake, he's named after the boa, his skulked and
Skulked and
slithered
slithered.
his way through Gotham, piloting a protection scheme that has left the city store owners gasping for breath. Now the huntress has followed the city, caught in the gang's stranglehold. There we go. This angle is weird that I'm sitting at. By the way, Toots, here's your silverware back. So she had thrown her little daggers at him. And look who we've got there, passed out. So the battle, it has been lost by 2 heroes. A lot of good it did ya. Boa said, snake tightens as I exhale. Oh, so she's going to, okay, he's telling her, as you exhale, he's going to tighten his grip and you're done for. So they leave for their little meeting that they're going to. And she's going to use her
Yoga breath control.
Breath control. Yo, when I was a kid, I thought that was real. The whole slowing your heart rate and your breath.
That's like what they do when they get thrown in a box underwater or something.
Yes.
Like, I slowed my heart rate.
Yes. Slowly.
Well, I struggled against my restraints. I don't know how that works.
Exactly. And so she's doing, then she gets to the point where she can't hold another second, going to pass out when, so this blade has been picked up and used.
There we go.
I did it. She's alive. I thought you were unconscious. I'd only been pretending to be knocked out. I've been faking it ever since they abducted me. I'm sorry I got you into this mess. You don't have to apologize or explain. I can't help it. I feel I owe you an explanation. There was a time when the Batman symbolized everything that was good about Gotham. And when he died, this town's sense of pride or fair play of what's right seemed to die with him. Maybe it was stupid, but I became Blackwing to be that symbol for people again, to restore
their pride in Gotham.
Yes, and spur them
to take charge of the city once more.
This is an interesting Batman,
he's got a yellow mask.
He's got, interesting.
Kind of a derpy looking call sign there.
It is.
Got a little cut off on the edges.
I tried to think the way the Batman would. I had the presence of mind to keep my miniature tape recorder in my utility belt running ever since I was kidnapped. Evidence. Good work, Charlie. We'll nail them yet. Now, what is her job before?
I don't remember.
Is she a lawyer? I'm thinking.
I still don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. You would have made the Batman very proud, Charlie. You've certainly made me proud. And so she goes off to the meeting where she had put a tracer on their vehicle. And so she's caught up with them at the building. And Mr. Harris here didn't think our protection was worth another 15% of their gross a month. There isn't anybody here who agrees with Mr. Harris, is there? Please, please. He's got a freaking crowbar at the guy's head.
Jeez.
Please, please. So they're going to make an example in front of all the other business owners. We couldn't possibly pay you more than we now. I know.
They picked the ugliest guy there.
And he explains we'll go out of business. There's no way we can pay that. All the more reason you need us. There, you have it, folks. An unsolicited testimonial. It's going good. Rocco's getting them all worked up. Shh, quiet. We've just demanded they pay us another 15%. That's sure to break them. Cosmont? Break them. But if they go out of business, they can't keep us paying us protection. Excuse my associate's naivete, Mr. Kismont. No one could pay what we're demanding, idiot. Once they realize that, they'll try to sell their businesses. They'll be so frightened and desperate, they'll take whatever pittance I offer them. And then, when they sell out, we'll be the real estate kings of Gotham. Unreal. What'll I tell Rocco and Marty? I think they have a few things to tell you first. That's a great panel. But maybe it's better if you hear it from me. Don't let her get me, Roxanne. Roxanne is his snake. First, Roxanne gets to hear a lullaby, so that tranquilizer dart will take care of the snake. Now for the rest of the menagerie. Oh, sure, you got the tricky gadget to cool out the snake, but there ain't a dame built that can take me down. Now I see why your mama named you Toro. So he comes at her and she uses her cape, and because you're just a lot of bull. So she captures them. The cops show up, and maybe Harry's right. Maybe I ought to leave the crime fighting to the cops. After all, is there anything here that they couldn't have handled themselves? They certainly wouldn't have known what to make of Roxanne as they take her off to the zoo. Those snakes are normally such placid creatures, never attacking unless in defense. Imagine how that man must have trained them to attack on command. Yes, it's been worth it. The boa couldn't have been stopped by conventional means, not before he ruined the lives of too many men. His plan to wreck everything those men worked for, dreamed of, has been thwarted. My city is safe again. But for how long?
Never the end.
That's good. And look at her cape is really...
Oh, yeah.
Really emotive. And
I wonder, I can't remember what her alter ego does.
I'm thinking it's lawyer or detective. Or
maybe. Why didn't she just fight crime as a detective then?
True.
Yeah, that was great. I love that cover. That'd be a good one to hang up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good stuff.
Two very different comics from different decades, but if you enjoy watching this, give us a like, and we'd love to read your comments and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.